Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube video. You are here with not quite GBHL Damien.
And not quite GBHL Thomas.
And we are here with our Desolation of Stockport review part 2.
Part 2. If you joined us for the first part and really want to see the second
and made
part,
it through
yeah.
somehow, if you made it through our witterings, then thanks. And I hope you enjoy part 2. I presume there might be a link to part 1 down there somewhere if you haven't watched it. Go and watch that first and you'll find out on how we were doing. But briefly, end of day 1, Tom's on 4 wins.
Yeah, doing well.
Brilliant start. I was on loss, draw, win. So I'm on the up, essentially. But so on to day 2.
Yeah.
Today, still.
No, it's tomorrow.
Just about,
it's not today.
This waking day.
This waking day, yeah.
So, which already feels like forever ago, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So up at 7:30.
Yeah.
Because the game. Oh yeah. What about that? The game schedule said 9:30.
Yeah.
And in the pub last night, everyone's kind of a bit by this point. Everyone's had
tired.
A little bit too much to drink to be then figuring out when to be in.
Yeah.
We were like, what time's the game? And I think James was saying 10.
Yeah.
And I go, it's 9:30, I think. And found in the schedule it's 9:30. So everyone's by then going, oh my god, 9:30. So yeah, up at 7:30.
Yeah.
Down for breakfast. Big tableless. Yeah. Everyone at the Britannia.
That's great, yeah.
Thomas Macklin, Jay Clare, Alistair, Jan. Again, lovely Jan.
Yeah.
Lovely Jan. So, good hugger. And yeah, another great breakfast.
Yeah.
10 quid, which some people found quite pricey, but I thought it was alright.
No.
It was nice, good spread.
Yeah.
Everyone packed up, obviously checked out, headed back to North West Gaming Centre.
Yeah.
We got there about 9:10.
Yeah.
9:10, something like that. Ready for the game. At which point, Jamie says, "No, you go ready to start." I go, "No." I go, "Why not?" I go, "James told everyone 10 o'clock." And I was like, "It's 9:30, isn't it?" "Yeah, it's 9:30. Yeah, it's 9:30.
This is the husband-wife type relationship coming through. They spend so much time with each other.
You could tell that they had rowed and rowed and rowed. This was they were putting it away for the day. Yeah. But this was a big issue. Yeah. This is obviously only joking. But so there'd been some breakdown in communication, so not everyone was there. So we had a bit of extra time, which made us all furious for getting up half an hour early. I think. But again, more great tea. Lots of tea from the North West Gaming Centre. Yeah. Love that. I didn't get her name, but the blonde girl serving knew my tea by the end of it. She was going like just tea, no sugar. I was like, yeah, that's good. That's service for you. So that was cool. Shot a couple more videos this morning when everyone was a bit kind of. There'll be, I don't know if they're up in order, but there'll be a few where I was like, what? There's some models. I'm not sure. And there wasn't anything before the game started, was there?
No. Just chatting.
Yeah, just chatting to people, catching up, talking about potential winners, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So,
day 2. Do you want to start?
Yeah. So the scenario was seize the prize.
The last one from the Desolation Spellbooks.
Yeah. So the objective is literally get to the middle, dig up a prize on a 4+, and run it off the board.
Simple.
Yeah, simple.
Really simple.
I was drawn against Ed Ballsfell Beast, which is pretty disastrous for this scenario, given that they can move 12 inches and land on the prize on go 1.
Yeah, that's going to be tricky.
Yeah, so I mean, I've got cavalry, so I can get there quickly too, and we knew we were going to be playing each other the night before, so we kind of discussed it a bit between us, and we were saying, it's going to come down to a few key roll-offs. Who wins the roll-offs? Because if you can dig up the prize and then win the heroic move to get it away, then you're essentially going to win, and one of us would probably do that. So Ed won priority in the first go and asked me if I wanted to do any heroics, and I think generally people expect people to heroic march on the first turn, and I decided not to because
you're an idiot. No, we talked about it, haven't we? Yeah. We spent a lot of time chatting about it.
Yeah, and if because Ed won priority, if I'd heroic marched, then he'd be there, and then I can't really do anything.
He'd just smash you up. Yeah. If all you achieve.
You could heroic move with one character, heroic march with the other, but you know, if I then move first, I'm going to get there. He's going to destroy me.
Absolutely. Good choice.
Yeah, so I decided not to.
That's why that's that sort of decision making that led you to second in the league 2013.
Yeah, well, we'll see about how well my decision making goes when later in the video. Anyway, Ed was, I think, a little bit taken aback by this because he kind of
Did you take a time out?
He did the whole head on one side.
Oh, with the tape measure. Did you have the tape measure like that?
No, he put it round his head.
Yeah, the head on the side and tape measure.
It's like, you know, you've done something interesting. If Ed Paul doesn't know what to expect, but Ed promptly moved on to the prize, dropped down, rolled the 4+ and picked it up with the
Drop down. What does that mean?
Drop down means, you know, the fell beast kind of gently put its head down, and the Knight of Umbar kind of stepped off.
You mean he
gracefully?
dismounted?
Yeah, he dismounted.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean.
That's what I was after. I wasn't like a step-by-step break.
It's late.
You can't even turn your phone on. What time is it?
1:15.
1:15. Early. Or late.
It's definitely.
We're doing this for you guys. For you guys. We done it. For you guys. We are doing this as dedication.
This is our time. I've got time.
You first age subscribers. Yeah, we are doing our review while it's fresh in our minds.
I could be spending time at work.
Absolutely. We could be spending time sleeping, but no, because we love you guys.
So anyway, he dismounted the Knight of Umbar, picked it up, and you know, it's a sensible decision to dismount the Knight of Umbar because he can match my combat ability, so he's the best at being on foot.
Right.
Because he also had Camille on a fell beast and a normal ring wraith on a fell beast.
Tough army to beat.
Yeah.
Any scenario, it's a tough army to beat.
Yeah. So I moved kind of half so that I'd be in charge range next go just in case, and could also shoot at him. You know, hopefully take down a fell beast. So that he can't, if he does, is able to pass it, you know, at least I've got rid of the fell beast. Shot all my 10 shots and 0 wounds.
You want some wounds?
Yeah, you want some wounds. Glorfindel by this stage had been compelled further away, so was kind of out of the action.
Classic ring wraith.
You know, with his 3 will and resistant to magic, he was woeful at resisting spells. Anyway, so a lot hinged on this next turn. So he's got the prize, and he's got 2 ring wraiths with fell beast right there, ready to, you know, catch the ball and run off.
Catch the ball.
Catch the ball.
Catch
Whatever
the
prize is. Catch the head ball. Catch the head ball. So obviously there was then a heroic move off in the next turn, and I managed to win it, which is, I was like, great. We'd kind of said that the biggest heroic move off was the one after the prize had been dug up.
Sure.
Because, you know, if you win that one with the prize, you're going to get off. So I charged my Rivendell Knight captain, because he hadn't been affected by the ring race, into the Knight of Umbar.
On foot.
Yeah. So my reasoning was that if I can kill the Knight of Umbar, then for Ed to be able to pick up the prize again, because it has to be a foot model, he'd have to dismount another of his fell beasts. You know, that significantly hampers his army if he does that. So I felt that I'd be in a strong position. So I charged him with a Rivendell Knight captain and backed him up with a spear support. Then my other cavalry couldn't get into the Knight of Umbar because of the way his fell beasts were, so they kind of charged into the other ring race. First combat, I obviously did the Knight of Umbar first because I didn't want him hurling stuff before I could do that fight. I won the fight, so knocked over the Knight of Umbar. Great. 1 wound, 2 fate, and I have the Rivendell Knight captain with a lance with 6 dice needing 5s.
Oh, here it comes.
So 3 5s to kill Knight of Umbar. Confidently roll 1 5.
Oh, Thomas. Oh, Thomas, what are you doing?
Yeah, and then the spearman obviously needs 6x4.
Nothing to do with might.
No, nothing, because I'd had to use it to do the heroic move. And what else did I use it for? I must have used it for something else. Oh, because we both heroic struck.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, that was pretty annoying. Obviously, I'd still done a wound, so he had to pass his fate. First fate, he rolls a 1. Really pleased. Second fate, and he messed it up. No, he didn't. He passed it. He passed it.
Of course he did.
And the Knight of Umbar survived. I should say, actually, at this point, that in the combat I rolled my 4 attack dice and got a 4 highest. So I rolled mine first because I'd won the heroic strike off and was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna win. Got a 4 highest and was crying inside. And then Ed rolled his 2 dice with the Knight of Umbar and got a 3.
Wow.
So okay, I guess I got some luck. Earlier on.
You do need it, I think, against that army.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 50-50 rolls
and
on
lots
the right
of
moves.
you know
you need them to go your way.
Yeah, and when you've got the opportunity, you've got to take it really.
Yeah, like something like that.
Yeah.
You take him down, that's a different game.
Yeah, exactly. Then obviously I fought the other ringwraiths. I think I managed to beat the normal ringwraith, but didn't really do anything to him. And then Kamal won and hurled through all my cavalry, which was pretty nasty.
Yeah, dismounting mule.
Yeah, dismounted captain as well, which was a shame. But he's out of might now, so a bit less effective. Anyway, next turn. So obviously, really need to get another heroic move off win, so that I could pounce on the Knight of Umbar on the floor. Unfortunately, I'd lost this roll off. Yeah. So the Knight of Umbar stood up and gave the prize to the Kamal on his fell beast.
Because you can pass it to a model on a mounted model.
Yeah, so they can't pick it up, but you can pass it to them. So pretty disastrous because now I've got to kill the fell beast to get the prize back. But you know, still doable-ish. At this point, we kind of made a rules error. So Ed then moved his fell beast after the prize had been passed to him. Now, the prize acts as a light object, and it says that it can't be moved in a relay style, but we called Jamie over and he and Ed thought that was, you know, you could pass it once and move it, but then you couldn't do it again. But there is one sentence at the end which kind of says it can't be moved or passed more than once in the face.
Okay.
So
he had moved it.
So he moved it to
passed
it,
and then moved it again.
Yeah, which you can't do. But you know, I mean, Jamie had made the decision. We went with it, and I don't think that it would have prolonged the game for one more turn. I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the game. But it's a little. It would have been nice to see how that would have played out.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that kind of reaction to. I think again, some players would be kind of bitter that went wrong, whatever. But I think, James and Jamie, 25 tables, 50 players.
Yeah, no,
they were doing everything else,
and he had the rulebook and read it, poor guy. And he kind of, I think, because you've got so much time and not that much time when you're trying to deal. He kind of read it, read a certain passage which made it seem as if it was one way.
Yeah.
And then if you missed the key sentence, then
he was probably high on Diet Coke.
On Diet Coke.
But the guys had loads on, and I imagine it's a very stressful thing.
Yeah.
Being called over to adjudicate top table matches.
Yeah.
So these things happen.
Absolutely fine, and Ed moved away. I think that if it played out, because Glorfindel was so far back, he wouldn't obviously have been able to get in.
Presumably he's got 3 might at this point as well.
1 for a resist and then 1 for the heroic, so he has 1 more left to do a heroic next go. So I maybe could have got more people in, but it's fighting a losing battle as soon as it's up on the fell beast.
Absolutely.
But I'm asking for a lot. I need to win a lot of roll-offs. Anyway, the fell beast flew away. I had a few pop shots, but I'd need a lot of 6s to be able to shoot it. So yeah, I did kill the Knight of Umbar just for pride purposes. So not bad in terms of how the game went in terms of the killing aspect, but the prize went and I'd won. But with that kind of game, we knew that it was going to be to do with a few key dice rolls, and it could go either way.
If you had killed him 6 dice, if you got those 3, he's gone for one thing. You then lose another fell beast.
Yeah.
It's a different game.
Yeah, I think that I'd probably have won had I killed him. Yeah. And then I think I'd probably still have lost with the rules square. Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's good that you can come out not thinking that's why I lost that because of rules.
Yeah, and also when a tournament TO makes a decision in the tournament, that's what you go with.
They make it cool.
And play by that. If we were on the table right next to Jamie, we could even roll a dice for it. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. But yeah, I mean, it was still a good game. I know I expected it to be a really rubbish game because I was expecting Felbeast gets on the prize, digs it up, runs away, and that's the end of the game. And it's just dull. But it was actually interesting still, even though it was still short.
I was looking over. It looked like it took a while as well.
Yeah,
it went on.
Yeah, we were agonising over moves and you know, fair play to Ed. He's quite a stickler on the rules, but he was actually kind of almost reminding me sometimes. He'd be like, "No, what is that? What special strikes is that guy doing? Is he using elf blade or lance and stuff like that?" Which is, you know,
generous.
Yeah, generous. Yeah. So yeah, definitely good like that. So yeah, good game.
Cool. So that was 5-0.
Yes.
5-0. So a loss.
Crushing defeat. Yes.
Crushing defeat.
So that put a dampener on my 4 wins, but
yeah.
you know, 4 wins and loss still looking.
Still looking good. I was drawn against Steve Crow. Yeah. Steve from the channel, which was great. Again, as I said before, I feel like I know him already, which I don't really. But it was great to get to play against him. Like, top bloke, and I'd seen his army before. I think they tried it out. It was the Gondor Force, where he had a Baragorn conversion, really nice conversion on horse, some Fountain Court Guard, Faramir with some knights.
And also an awesome conversion on foot of Faramir, Ithilien version.
If Faramir gets dismounted. Spoilers. Yeah. And Madril, the old guy with the grey hair, has Madril, leading some rangers.
Yeah.
So quite a tough army, and he's got cavalry.
Yeah.
So Caesar Prize is tricky.
Yeah.
I immediately heroic marched, as the standard Caesar Prize tactic goes, and I was able, because Thorin's on a pony, I thought he was my only chance. I thought the only way my plan was essentially do that, pick it out with Thorin, and shield for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Like back away, 6 dice.
Yeah.
Just needs 6s against everything in his army.
Yeah.
He should be right. Then maybe, as I back away, protected by a line of shields, hand it off, run off with it.
Off you go.
So I managed to get the jump on him, which was great. And he didn't counter it, which was quite interesting.
Didn't counter with a heroic?
No, he didn't.
March?
I think he definitely didn't do a march. I think he might have done a move to move first. But I think he was later saying that he would rather save the might, let me burn my might up, let me get it, and then attack me.
Okay.
So that was his kind of like approach to the game, which is like fair enough. And it kind of worked, because I got there with Thorin. Thorin failed to dig it up. I was like, alright, it's 50-50 roll off, you need 4 or more, it happens. Next turn, I think he called a heroic move, which I couldn't really do anything about because he was using it for his cavalry.
Yeah.
And I at this point, if you imagine there was a small hill in the middle with the prize on, I had my dwarfs all around the hill by this point, thanks to the heroic march.
Yeah.
My rangers were in a row, shooting at his rangers. The rangers were kind of shooting at each other throughout the game, really. And he was able to charge me. And obviously Thorin's dismounted to dig the thing up, so Thorin's not as effective as normal because he's not on a pony anymore.
Yeah.
And so then Bilbo moved up behind him to dig it up, and I had this idea about giving it to Bilbo because he's invisible, so he could run off with it and maybe get off safely. Bilbo fails to dig it up on the second time of asking. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So we then have this scrap that Cliff Notes version. We have this fight around this hill for a lot of turns, and he's coming in tighter and tighter around me. At one point, Faramir and a knight charge Thorin, and despite me shielding on foot with 6 dice, don't get a 6, and they knock him to the ground. Steve's got 6 dice for Faramir charging, who with his lance needs 5s, and then 4 dice for his knight, who would then need 5s and 3s. Yeah?
Yeah.
And 10 dice essentially to do it, and I think he did 1. I mean, he could have killed him, and it wouldn't necessarily matter too much if he kills him, because there's no leader points, but he's a tank in my army, and he survived, which is amazing. Bilbo failed to dig the ring up, so this scrap went on with him coming tighter and tighter, burning all our might on heroic moves, so that I had this ring surrounding Bilbo. Bilbo's sitting on the prize trying to dig it up. And I just had this ring of my army around him, just about keeping Steve's army at bay, while the rangers were shooting each other. Like a ranger was dying on each side every turn. Like they were, the numbers were dropping.
Both squishy and good at shooting.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was hitting on 3s and winning on 5s. I was hitting on 3s and winning on 5s. Yeah, it was exactly the same. Yeah. So that sort of thing. And then basically Bilbo fails to dig up the prize for 6 turns.
So is that 1 with Thorin and 6 with Bilbo, or 1 with Thorin and 5 tries with Bilbo?
It was 6 total.
6 total.
6 fails. And the odds for that are 1 in 64, did you say?
Something like that.
6 fails just all you have to do is roll a 4+. And for all of these turns, you never know what would happen, but I'm pretty much guaranteed the game if I get it. Because I've got his army at bay, and I've got all these rangers to carry it if I want. So if he gets it up, I'm just walking away, even with the Hobbit at 4 inches, he's invisible. I'm laughing. I just couldn't do it. And then finally he kind of cracked me and he got through, and the game was getting quite close to the end now. Like, a lot of people were gathering by this point, because I think I was screaming more and more and more every time I didn't dig the prize up. And it was drawing this crowd, and a lot of because Seize the Prize is a very quick scenario.
So lots of people.
So a lot of people had finished early, and we're kind of watching, going, "What the hell is going on in this game? Why has the prize not been dug up? Why has someone not run off with it?" And we're having a great laugh about it. Really, really good natured game, and finally a dwarf basically shoves Bilbo off and goes, "Give it here," and the dwarf dug it up on the first time. So like, on the 7th time of asking, I get the prize, and literally everything's kind of collapsed. Faramir's off his horse by this point. All my rangers are dead. There's 2 rangers left here. Madril's now come in, who's got 3 might, and brought that to the party. Legolas is out of might. I think Madril then killed Legolas did survive actually. Madril nearly killed Legolas. There was a couple of points where like he had like 4 dice to needing a 5 to kill Legolas and didn't get him, that sort of thing.
He was just woeful at wounding heroes with his
absolutely.
dice.
I've got 1 dwarf with the prize, but can't get him out because he's now got the weight of numbers, and he keeps winning. He wasn't necessarily winning priority, but he had Madril's might to call heroics. There were 2 rounds near the end where he charged the guy with the prize, won the fight. And I was desperately trying to break Steve as well, because I thought I needed to break those points. I was broken.
There's no points for it.
Oh no, because I just went, no, that was it. I wanted to break him so that his Fountain Court would run away. I wanted to kill Faramir.
Yeah.
And I was desperate to kill him.
Yeah.
I'd got him down to 2 wounds, no fate, so the Fountain Court wouldn't have bodyguard, so they wouldn't be able to charge Bilbo.
Because they can check. Because obviously being a bodyguard.
Yeah, because they got bodyguard, they pass all courage tests, so if any model bodyguard can see invisible people, which is crazy. So I was piercing
almost
striking.
as crazy as Bilbo on a pony being invisible.
So this guy with the prize, the Fountain Court won against him and a spearman twice, and there's 2 chances to kill him and make him drop the prize. Yeah, he might have piercing struck though, possibly. I can't remember because I was desperate for a kill.
Oh.
So I might have piercing struck, and he doesn't kill him. And then finally, I won priority, passed it to his spear support before he moved.
Yeah.
And the spear support then runs towards Steve's table edge, because by this point he's surrounded me on my side, and there's actually a little gap where Thorin's still chopping away at Faramir, like desperately. Thorin and Faramir were fighting for the entire game, and this dwarf legs it, and then in the last turn, I think when they called turn, I'm broken by this point, praying I pass every courage test, but thankfully Bilbo, Legolas and Thorin are keeping me in. And I just managed to move him out, and right at the end he had 2 cheeky shots at him with his rangers, but just couldn't wound him, and I ended up winning. It's at 3-0 because I had the prize but I didn't get it off.
3-0.
And it was amazing. It was a brilliant game, absolutely staggering. Went right to the wire. Loads of people watching. It was just fantastic, and I gave Steve my most favourite game vote or my sporting opponent, because it was so much fun. It's the best game of SPG I played, and it was great because you suddenly saw that Seize the Prize can actually be an incredibly good scenario if maybe you couldn't dig it up for about 4 turns, so that you're scrapping around it, and there would be a lot of kind of passing it around. So it's brilliant fun. Loved the game. Loved it. And another win.
Yeah. So
3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw at this point.
Yeah. So now, just behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lunch.
No, we had 2 scenarios.
2 games.
So 1 more scenario and then lunch. So the scenario was to the death. So back onto the standard journey book and Hobbit Unexpected Journey scenarios. So to the death is leader kill and breaking and banner victory points. So I was drawn against David Alexander with his high elves. So bit of a blue on blue matchup. He had the elf twins on horse, Gildor as his leader with an elven cloak.
Gildor as leader? It's unusual.
With defence 4. But his rationale was that he then was carefree with the elf twins and could just smash through stuff and throw them in recklessly and not really worry about them. And Gildor with an elf cloak obviously is, well protected. And he had lots of defence 6. He converted the high elf warriors so that he had elf blades and shields.
Oh, okay.
So quite a
So that means you can't go two-handed.
No, but good for tying fights. So it's a little army. Basically, we're on a board where there were some big rocky outcrops, and he deployed kind of in the middle of these 2 outcrops, so that I wasn't going to be able to really outflank him.
Sure.
So it was a very aggressive game. I didn't really want to go into a shooting war with him because we had a similar number of bows, but me losing my cavalry is worse for me, so I decided to kind of just charge in and try and batter through him. Essentially, I kind of charged in and didn't perform particularly well with the knights. They didn't win as many fights as they needed to, but a reasonable amount. His elf twins were very unlucky, both called a heroic combat. The first one had to burn a mite to then kill the 2 men he'd charged into because he fluffed it on one of them and did carry on and then didn't end up killing in the next fight, so that was kind of a wasted couple of might. And then the other one didn't win his heroic combat, so I know he still won it but only killed the one again rather than 2, and then didn't decide to use might this time, so some pretty bad luck at the start there for David. So because he'd kind of come forward with the elf twins and protected them, and then Gildor had kind of backed away a little bit, there was a bit of a gap for me to go through with Glorfindel. So Glorfindel moved on to a couple of guys. Now he couldn't charge into Gildor that turn because Gildor's got an elf cloak, so he was beyond 6 inches away. But I just reasoned that you've got a break in this scenario as well. So Glorfindel called her at combat, and then catapulted around, killed a couple more by Gildor, so he was right on top of Gildor, right next to him, ready to pounce. And my knights had killed quite a few. And obviously it then comes down to this one roll-off where I've got Glorfindel right by his leader, who's defence 4 and I'm strength 4, so if I charge in, he'd got no might by this point because he'd done a heroic move. I'd just get in, I have the higher fight value, I should really be taking him down in 1 turn of combat. Unfortunately I lost the heroic move off, and he was able to kind of get in on Glorfindel and stop him from getting anywhere near Gildor. And the major issue with this, obviously it was disappointing because I couldn't get into Gildor, but he was able to countercharge all of my cavalry. Because it was such a tightly packed area, he was able to get on all of the cavalry, which just kind of ruins the Rivendell Knights. And I know James's major tactic is keep stuff back, but I didn't have enough numbers to keep stuff back. Yeah, it's not a full cavalry army, so I don't really have them in reserve. So I then had that turn then swung it back in David's favour because he was able to take down some of the cavalry. And I'm trying to think what happened. I mean, I think I was furiously trying to get to Gildor with Glorfindel, but just wasn't really able to do it. I think I'm trying to remember because Glorfindel messed up a bit later on, and I'm trying to remember whether it was in this game or in another one. What
I was getting 7 games is hard to remember.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to do this straight away now, just because I won't remember any of this in a week's time.
Anyway, it was actually pretty disastrous. Oh, that was it. So Glorfindel had charged in against 2. No, maybe not. No, Glorfindel he'd got an elf twin on him, and he had a couple of others. He could. I'm making no sense, am I? It's late.
You're making sense. You don't seem to know what the answer is.
Yeah, David's gonna watch this and be like, "This is not.
This is not the game we're playing.
This is not what happened."
You're making sense.
Okay.
The words are English.
Yeah, the words are English. Anyway, so he managed to break me. I didn't really run away, which is fine, but I was like, I need to break him to at least force a draw. So, but I just couldn't win priority because I didn't have enough might, and he had maybe 2 left with his elf twins. He'd use one to heroic move and then put both elf twins on Glorfindel and another guy to trap him. And I was thinking, oh my word, this is going to be disastrous because he could heroic strike. That was it. I'd kept one of Glorfindel's might back, so I hadn't been able to heroic move on that go because I was afraid that if I lost the roll off, I'd then not be able to strike back.
Yeah, sure.
Fortunately, because he'd won the heroic move, he wasn't able to engage one of my cavalry guys because he was just out of 6 of Glorfindel. So he went just out of 6 of the elf twin when he went into Glorfindel, and obviously he wanted to go into Glorfindel to strike him. So I was able to move him round and just take the one elf twin who could heroic strike off Glorfindel.
Yeah.
Fine. And I think on the last turn I needed to kill 2 and didn't win a single combat. And then it got to Glorfindel's. Glorfindel's against 1 elf twin and 1 guy. He has to kill 2. Not gonna happen. No. He killed 1 and not the second. So I didn't even break him. And obviously at this point I'd been absolutely smashed because as soon as I'm outnumbered by elves with elf blades still, and it went really badly. So I was down to 25%. I think before the game had started, I was before I'd seen the board and before the game had started, I was thinking, I've got cavalry, I know he's got more defense 6 and more men, but I should be able to get through, and I know he's got 2 heroes on a horse with 3 might, but Gildor's quite squishy and I'm sure I can heroic combat into him and kill him. And I'm sure we'd both break each other, but it didn't transpire like that. So well done to David. Yeah, well done to David for unexpectedly in my head smashing me.
So 3 losses.
2 losses. 4 wins and 2 losses.
2 losses, sorry.
Yes.
2 losses.
Yes.
So my to the death.
Yes.
Was against James Braund. James Braund, who hasn't been around a lot recently. No. Very big on the tournament scene previously, but
busy
making new websites. I think. So yeah, it's great to see him again. Haven't seen him at an event since
last Longbottom Carnival.
Yeah, Longbottom Carnival. I think so. Nearly a year actually. So it's really good. We've only played once before, and he'd beaten me with the Warrior army that he had at this event as well. So there was a
scaled down version.
Yeah, there was a bit of a banter between us about kind of I owe you one, that sort of thing. Yeah. So he had Groblog leading standard 5 Gundabad's 5 spears.
Yep.
He had a Shaman leading 5 Gundabad's and 5 spears. He then had Drizag leading like a bat swarm, 3 spiders, and then he had 3 wild fell wargs as independent drops.
Yeah.
So because it's to the death, you only get VPs for leader kills and for breaking.
Yeah.
So he hid Groblog's warband completely behind a rock on his own table edge. Just so I had no way of killing his leader, essentially. Like a huge big rock, couldn't even see him. I deployed in my battle line, so I could shoot and make him come to me. So he was responding to that, I guess. And then he sent his Shaman's warband with Fury and Drizag and all the Gribblies towards me. And if you've never come across this, it's a really scary proposition because you've just got these. I was able to kill a few with shooting. I think I took down a spider and 2 wargs as they came towards me, which was handy. But any one of these Gribbly creatures, any one of the wargs or the spiders or the bat swarms, can be enraged by Drizag.
Yeah.
And it's +3 fight, strength, attacks, which are important ones. So suddenly, your average warg becomes terrifying. Your warg becomes 4 attacks, fight 6 or whatever, strength 7.
Yeah.
And they can do a lot of damage. So he sent this as a kind of elite attacking force. It was really effective. He managed to kill 5 of my dwarves, 2 wargs who were unenraged, killed 2 warriors of Erebor in the same turn. Like 6 to win the fight, 6 to kill. It was horrible. But he managed to enrage a bat swarm and get him onto Thorin. And the bat swarm halves Thorin's fight value. So Thorin suddenly then, and he won the fight. He's then got 5 attacks, I think, at Thorin, needing 5s to wound, and he didn't do any, thankfully. And he probably shouldn't have killed. He definitely shouldn't have killed him. He's got 3 fate. He's got 3 wounds, but he
should do a wound.
Could have done a wound, which was worth a victory point. Definitely worth a go.
Yeah.
Next turn, thankfully, I've weathered it. I was able to get Bilbo onto the bat swarm, which made it quite a funny situation where the bat swarm halved Thorin's fight value, but then Bilbo halved the bat swarm's enraged fight value, and then an elf won the fight for it, or something like that. I can't quite remember how it was, but I was able to kill the bat swarm, and basically I was able to cleanse the Gribblies.
Yeah. So
he'd used all Drizog's might and all his will, and there were no more animals left. And then you entered this weird second stage of the game, where at this point you've got to imagine there's a kind of 6x4 board here. Yeah, Groblog and his warband are up here. All my little elves and dwarfs are down here, and the other goblin warband are here. Okay.
So you're in one corner and Groblog's in the other.
Yeah, Groblog's right up here. And I suddenly realised that it's currently a draw. Yeah. Neither of us are close to breaking the other one. So the only way I can get any points out of this is to either break him or go for his leader. So I sent my entire army here marching up. So this is 48 inches across the board towards Groblog's warband. I think I used 3 might to march, so 3 turns consecutively.
Including Bilbo's.
Yeah, Bilbo's might again, very handy. Again, Bilbo had a big impact on the game. One of Legolas's, one of Thorin's. I wanted to keep one for Legolas to boost an auto hit on Groblog.
Yeah.
The plan was just get close to him with some of my rangers and just shoot at Groblog and get 1 wound.
Yeah.
And of course, by the time I'd done that, because I move faster than goblins anyway, he's as I'm moving up here, his goblins that are over here with his shaman with fury.
And no might.
Yeah, he had 1 might with his shaman. Are quite far behind.
Yeah.
So I was basically able to get up to this rock with the goblins about here.
Yeah.
Hopefully this map is making sense. Yeah. And then I split my army up around the rock, and Groblog had no real choice but to start backing off. And I sent the archers down at the bottom to start shooting him, and I said Thorin and the dwarves around the top to charge him.
Yeah.
And he had to keep backing away, and then Groblog basically used all his might on heroic marches away.
Okay.
I think, to just put some distance between us, and he left a few goblins behind to kind of act as blockers to stop me. I think that was the plan, but in effect, what I was able to then do is kill 6 of them on their own.
Yeah.
And get very, very close to breaking it. So my plan had been to do a wound on Groblog, but actually I'd suddenly got quite close to breaking him, and these goblins over here were just doing nothing.
Yeah,
of course, his shaman's down there, so he hasn't got fury. And then I basically just closed in and in and in on him, and was taking pot shots at the other goblins and just taking a few down, a couple down. And eventually I managed to trap the last goblin with 3 dwarfs and kill him, and that broke him. And we called it then. I think we would have had time for another turn.
Yeah.
But he couldn't have broken me, and he couldn't have done anything to Thorin, so we shook hands on it, and it was and I managed to win 5-0 because into the death you get 5. It's not really broken, so I was really chuffed because I didn't necessarily think it was going to happen, and you can't underestimate the power of heroic march now when you go. It was really interesting seeing I don't play a lot of games on 6x4. Normally 4x4 is pretty regular. And it was interesting seeing you use the whole board, that we had a huge fight down here, and then a huge fight right up here, 48 inches apart, which you don't get a lot, I think.
Good job it's a 1 hour 45 time though.
Yeah, well, absolutely, it went, the game really went the distance on that one. And I think James was great throughout, really good to play against, it was a good game, it was nice to level it at 1-1, I guess. Yeah. But I think he was then a bit, I think he was a bit annoyed at himself that he maybe hadn't made some of the right decisions. Yeah. Maybe he should have kept all his goblins back to protect Groblog and protect from being broken, keep the shaman together, or send everything towards me except Groblog. Yeah. Leave Groblog on his own at the back maybe, but you don't know. A few things could have gone differently. Yeah. If the bat swarm had got lucky, he might have wounded Thorin, and suddenly I'm chasing the game. But I was pleased to get it. I was pleased to do it against that kind of army. Yeah. And I was pleased with my army. I think all the bits performed well. So
good stuff.
A second win for the day for me.
Yeah, and that's 4 in a row.
4 wins, so loss, win, 4, loss, draw, 4 wins. Yeah. And we were going into the last game. Yeah. Then we had lunch.
Yes, then we had lunch.
And lunch again was great. Yeah. I had a hot dog, some chips,
pasta,
sort of thing. And over lunch were a couple of things, weren't there?
Yes.
We got to vote for best army.
Yes.
So as Tom said, Shadow and Flame, Kevin David gone round the day before, and shortlisted 10, and I was really honoured and chuffed to be one of the 10. Yeah. So it's always it's always nice to get the nominations, but when it's people like Dave and Kev saying, "I like your work," it's like, wow, that was awesome. Yeah. So over that lunch break, we set out our tables, and this is what we said was a really good idea. There was then the top tables had the 10 armies out. So when you voted, you just went round
And all had a little number,
area.
so there was no name associated with it. Obviously, you probably know who the army is, but you know it's a bit easier to pick an army when there's no name there.
It's not even the kind of favouritism thing. You just don't know when they're just laid out. You don't know whose army's who, so it can be quite hard to vote for the right person. So that was great, and it was really nice. And there was a kind of little buzz around the room because everyone was in exactly the same spot, looking at the armies and talking about them.
Nice.
Stunning armies on display. Really, really lovely stuff. And as I say, just chuffed to be nominated, to be honest. So that went on.
Yeah.
And then didn't we do the lucky dip?
Yes, we did the lucky dip.
So this was again, I'll say a bit of fun, but just another very, very generous thing on the parts of James and Jamie and the sponsors of this. That everyone got a prize. There was everyone got to draw a number out of a hat, and everyone got a model. And there was some really good stuff in there from the stretch goals, like the Warriors of Dale box, Palace Guard. Yeah. Then there's also the new Legolas.
Yeah.
£15 Legolas. Yeah. Limited edition Radagast. Yeah. And then you still got like metals that were Deadmar Spectres.
Production as well.
Yeah. Frodo and Sam in Orc armour.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's pretty cool. Really lovely models. And then of course there was some
the chaff.
There was some the plastic Last Alliance figures. Yeah. Everyone's got the plastic Last Alliance figures. And Mordor Orc Bowmen.
But the Mordor Orc Bowmen are out of production.
Yeah, they're rare and out of production, but my God, Jamie had a few of them.
Yeah.
So, thanks to, I think they were all Jamie's, apart from the stretch guys.
But really
thanks very much, really generous, and so everyone got a model. What did you get?
I got a Númenórean warrior without a shield.
Plastic.
There were a few less good ones, and
not great then.
My luck for the day wasn't going
not very well. That's not how as good as mine, which was a high elf plastic warrior with elven blade. We did not draw well.
No, we didn't do well.
Yeah, I knew because by the time we got there, the Dale had gone. I really wanted the Dale.
Everyone wanted the Dale. The tension kind of left the room a little bit once the Dale had been taken.
But that was just lovely, a bit of fun, and everyone got a little model, which was great. Yeah. Very it was just good fun. Yeah. And we headed into the last game. Yeah. Which is taken hold.
Yes.
Essentially hold ground.
Yeah.
But you don't get a victory point for every model in the middle. You get 5 victory points if you have double. Yeah.
Or if they have 0, and you have at least 1.
Yeah.
And then 3.
5 if you have double, and 3 if you have more.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's it.
And then normal leader and breaking. And the deployment was seize the prize deployment. Yeah. No hold ground, maelstrom of battle.
At least 12 inches from the centre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk about your
Yeah.
While you do that, I'm going to get a drink.
Could you get me a drink?
Yes. A little squash.
Yes, please. So I was drawn against David Reed, who travelled down from Scotland, and he's been to a few tournaments, and I've obviously chatted to him, but I've never played him. So I was really pleased to be drawn against him, and he brought a really nice looking, I hadn't got nominated, but a beautifully looking army. It was the kind of Rangers of the North theme. He had Aragorn and Halbarad and quite a few Dunedain, and then Rangers of Arnor. So about 21 models, so a lot of bow shots in there. And I was pretty scared by this because the board that we picked again was quite rocky and not there's a few rocks dotted around, but not much cover, especially around the middle area, for me to avoid his bows. And we set up obviously reasonably far away, and I decided that I didn't want to have my cavalry shot, because I was kind of toying between do I just try to avoid being shot and go around, do I charge straight in and hope that he doesn't take out much. So I kind of skirted around the edge whilst my 2 archers on foot kind of hid behind cover and shot, and 21 Dunedain archers, including Aragorn and a few heroes, with heroic accuracy from Aragorn, shooting at 2 elf archers with 1 in the way and maybe 2 in some instances. They were all outshot by these 2 elf archers, which was pretty funny for a couple of turns. David had some abysmal rolling. He just couldn't wound me. But, you know, I wasn't really making any progress myself. I was kind of behind some big rocks on one side of the board. I kind of brought my knights out of cover a little bit so they could shoot at a few of the rangers whilst they could only shoot a few shots back. And thank you. So there's a few little shots, and then I kind of realised I need to do something a bit more, but I'd kind of brought my knights out so they were exposed, so I called a heroic shot against him, heroic shooting, and he obviously countered with Aragon's 3-1, and this is where I had an amazing round of luck. I had 6 shots at his. I was trying to clear there were about 6 or 7 rangers who could shoot back at my cavalry, and I, of the 6 shots, had 6 hits and then 5 wounds, which was amazing for a heroic shoot, well worth the might.
So they needed 5s to wound?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, so you don't hear a lot of heroic shoots, but sometimes...
Yeah, sometimes they're really worth it. So that kind of gave me some confidence, so I then made so that I could charge in. I kind of sacrificed one guy who kind of charged in after I'd lost priority, and he kind of blocked the line of sight for the rangers so my others could come in behind him and not be shot, and then next turn would get the jump with Glorfindel as well. So, you know, looking alright. I've got guys now who've moved up to the middle. He's quite far away from the middle, so, you know, it's going pretty well. You know, next turn, charge in, fine. Glorfindel goes on to a couple of rangers, and so, oh yeah, that was it. The first turn I put the captain, Rivendell Knight captain, on Aragorn. We both did a heroic strike, and I lost the roll off, and Aragorn killed his horse. So, you know, it's just the way it goes. Yeah. Then, you know, Glorfindel smashed up a few rangers. My cavalry did some reasonable damage, but next turn, I think that I won priority, but I wasn't able to get Glorfindel on Aragorn. But what I did was I made sure that Glorfindel could heroic combat into Aragorn. He took on 1 ranger, left space, and made sure that he'd be able to get through onto Aragorn. I can't remember exactly why I wasn't able to charge Aragorn. But anyway, that meant that if I won the heroic combat, I'd be getting into Aragorn with my higher fight value charging. And I think I'd charged him already with 1 knight. So it was very much in my favour to kill Aragorn outright in one go. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there was one Dunedain who's able to kind of sneak around the side, pass a courage test, and get into Glorfindel, so he's up against 2. But, you know, still against 2, I think I can probably still do it. Anyway, roll my 4 dice.
I think I know where this is going.
And got a 3 highest.
Oh.
Which, you know, disastrous. Disastrous. Which obviously David beat. He then killed Glorfindel's horse.
Of course.
Awful. And then I rolled a 1 for Thrown Rider, so Glorfindel was on his bottom. I was later reminded that Glorfindel's an expert rider, I think, so should re-roll that roll.
You would have got another 1.
Yeah, I would have got another 1. His luck had gone. His luck had gone. The major issue with this was I'd called this heroic combat thinking I was going to, you know, get on Aragorn and kill him, because I knew that Aragorn was going to be amazing in the end game with his mighty hero rule. So I wanted to try to take him out. I think Glorfindel still had 1 might left at this point, but the issue was that I'd kind of lost that chance to get him.
Yeah, sure.
And now I didn't
losing the horse.
Yeah, now I didn't have enough might. I was on the floor with, you know, I can heroic move with my might, but then once I've done that, I can't strike him, and he's always now going to be able to beat me with Aragorn. So that was a bit of a shame. You know the way it goes, and then from then on, Aragorn was amazing. He every move he was able to go first. I mean, Glorfindel managed eventually to stand up, win a combat. Fine. I think he did use a heroic move in the end to try and stop Aragorn charging him on the floor. Yeah. He got Aragorn in on Glorfindel a few times, but I always managed to pull him off with one of my guys. But anyway, because I realised I needed to break him, I kind of moved away from the central objective, which was a mistake. Because I was like, I've got to break him. Because my cavalry kind of died by this point. Glorfindel's on the floor. I was like, worried about Glorfindel, you know, I can't have him die. Because that loses me points. So I was going towards to help him out. And essentially, because he could move first every go with Aragorn, it meant he could always tie up my men and stop them from getting back to the centre. And I hadn't really thought about that. And that was pretty disastrous. And essentially, towards the end of the game, Halbarad was able to slip into the centre, so we both had one model each in the centre, because Halbarad also killed the other models that I had around the centre, which wasn't great. But you know, still pretty tense. Aragorn and Glorfindel are kind of a bit apart, so neither are going to do anything to either of them. I had wounded Aragorn twice, but he passed once, but he passed 2 fate.
Right.
So there was one round where Aragorn didn't do very well, but you know, he's got 3 got 3 fates. He also rolled a double 1 for 1 courage test, but he's got enough will to save that as well. Anyway, on the last turn, Aragorn then called his heroic move, stopped all my guys bar 1 from getting to the middle, and ran into the middle. I could get my 1 into the middle, so we both got 2 in the middle, both broken. And this turn he kind of charged into people like Glorfindel, so he knew he was going to be reduced to 25%, so it was going to be the last turn of the game.
Yep.
So obviously I killed his model, so he's down to 25%, and it came off to this one roll between Halbarad and my 1 elf are in the centre. If Halbarad kills him, then obviously David then wins. If he doesn't, then it's a draw. Halbarad then won the fight and managed to get the 5 to kill the elf, which, you know, you kind of expect him to kill 1 elf. And, you know, it's a fantastic game to go down to the last dice roll of the game. Yeah. It was great, and you know, it was a really fun game. Really good way to end the tournament, and it was a really fun game. You know, I was slightly disappointed with myself because I was like, you know, you should have thought about Aragorn getting the jump every go. Don't go away from the middle, just sit there. Yeah. But you know, I was worried that he'd kind of just, I don't know what I was thinking. I was tired.
It's very tiring, buddy.
You know, playing so many games in a weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
I would far rather 7 games, 7 small games than 4 big ones.
But you know, you don't really mind when you lose a game when it's been, you know, lots of fun and it's tense, and you know, it's like, yeah, a great game, doesn't matter. But anyway, that was me. 4 wins on the first day, and then catastrophic Owen Wright style decline on the second day with 3 losses.
Yeah, that's all or nothing.
Yeah, I absolutely tumbled down the order. And so the victory points in the first games that I won, you couldn't really get that many, and then in 3 on the second day it was more like 5-6 points, and then in the last one 10-11 points that were available. So you could get you could get quite a lot on these 3 games that I did badly on. So I lost by a bigger margin than I was winning in the earlier games. Yeah. So I, with the 4 wins and 3 losses, ended on -4 victory points, because it was on victory point difference. -4 victory points. Here's an interesting stat. I was the only player in the top 25 to have a negative victory point difference.
That is outstanding.
So when I won narrowly. When I lost, I got smashed.
So you won more games than you lost, but you got a negative victory.
So I am, for any football fans, the Tottenham Hotspur of the GBHL.
That's a special.
Yeah.
You're a unique little snowflake.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, an amazing tournament. It was really good fun. My prediction on my little first day interview with Damien was, after 3 wins, I could finish in the top 5. Yeah, that didn't happen. 17th place. So.
Fair enough. At 50 then.
Yeah, so it's fine, but a big swing on the last day.
Absolutely. So my last game was taken hold, obviously, as well, and I got drawn against Chris Young, White Wizard from the forums. Yeah. Run one of the Titans tournament organisers. Lovely bloke. Played him individually that much. I don't think I've played him at a tournament, but played in a lot of big games with him and that sort of thing, fun games. So I got drawn against him and his White Council army, which was no one nominated for best army.
Yeah, lovely army.
Yeah,
the bases were.
Yeah, they were stunning. He had Gandalf, Elrond, and Glorfindel.
Yeah,
all
we
on
kind of
horse.
mixed the models. So we had the Last Alliance Elrond, but with the Hobbit Elrond on horse, and the Hobbit Gandalf with the out of production Gandalf on
really
horse.
Nice army. Really nice army. So yeah, I had that, and I was quietly confident. Plan was get Bilbo on a hero, get one of my heroes in there. I've got high fight value now.
Yeah.
Even if he strikes up, as goes the plan, he can only get to fight 10 because of Bilbo. Good old Bilbo. Then get some axes in there and chop them up. Yeah, that was the kind of plan.
Yeah.
Didn't rate much my shooting because of blinding light.
Yeah.
The game starts. Cast blinding light straight away.
Yeah.
It's to be expected. A couple of turns, we were on the same rocky board you were on against David.
Okay.
So I think Chris is still a bit wary of the shooting, wary of Legolas. So he was kind of darting around
you still got Legolas.
Yeah, auto hitting. He was darting around these kind of blocks, these rocks, and I basically had my line here of dwarves and elves that was kind of doing this, kind of pivoting to face him, and eventually he kind of went. I guess he realised he needed to come out and win the game.
Yeah.
So he came out and just went at me, and you know they're really tough.
Yeah.
Like it started off with Gandalf, and he threw 3 dice at Sorcerer's Blast. Which began, as I'm sure he'll fondly remember, a long series of this. So he'd used 3. I think the first time he actually still had to use a might point to cast it, but 1 from his 1 free, 1 2 from his store, knocked out down my line, killed a bunch of rangers, maybe a couple of dwarves, knocked down Bilbo, I think, something like that. I was able to get. He then fairly early on. He then starts. We're on turn 4 or 5. Starts charging Glorfindel and Elrond in, and at this point I'm thinking, I think this will be a quick game. I think either he's going to smash me, wipe me out, or I'm going to jump on him and kill him.
Take him down.
And it's like the Felby's thing. As soon as you get rid of one, they don't lose 33% of their army. They're hugely up against it now. And so that was the plan: just kill one. And I didn't have a clue who. Do I kill Gandalf, stop him casting spells? Do I kill Elrond because he's his leader? Or do I kill Glorfindel because he's a beast? And Gandalf and Elrond, of course, can reroll fate. Yeah. Really tough stuff. At one point, he charges Elrond and Glorfindel in, and Legolas managed to auto-hit Elrond's horse and kill it, which was brilliant. I was really chuffed with that. The second turn in the game, he Sorcerer's Blasted with 3 again, did it again. And he was doing the really clever thing where you blast a troop who can't resist it into the heroes. Yeah. So what it basically meant was that every turn he would knock down Thorin and Bilbo, particularly Bilbo, so that Bilbo couldn't get on his heroes because he only got 4-inch movement. If he stood up, he only had 2 inches left, and he'd always be. It was so agonising. He'd be like 3 inches away. Legolas got lucky. I think Glorfindel charged him. And I think over the course of 2 turns, lost to Glorfindel and got knocked down and didn't die. Oh. And if you remember when I'm not sure if it was exactly this, but that's essentially 16 attacks needing 5s. Now it might be that he didn't quite get that, maybe, I can't quite remember, but Legolas was on borrowed time. You know, he's got 3 fate, so he probably, and he was down to 1 wound, so he must have done 4. Yeah. So it might be about right, but I was lucky to have Legolas alive. After that, I was really, the shooting did nothing because of blinding light. Yeah. Third turn, or the third turn when after we joined, another 3 dice, another Sorcerer's Blast. Thorin's down, Bilbo's down, and I'm losing men fast. I think I'd lost about 9 guys by this point. I think I got a good round of combat against Glorfindel. Took a couple of fates, took him down, just 2 fate I took off him. But I just couldn't get hold of him because I think around this point I ran out of might. And he still had a couple, so he can still boss the board, and most importantly that means Gandalf can cast. Yeah. However,
any Nature's Wrath in this?
Yeah, there was 1 Nature's Wrath. Okay. I think Elrond's got 3 will, and I think he did it the first turn, he cast it on 1, and the second turn, not the first turn, but the first time. And it worked, but it worked on a relatively small number because he'd had to make sure the heroes were out of it.
Of course.
To resist. And then the second time, I think he threw 2 at it and it failed. So it wasn't too bad. Yeah. And thankfully there was no Lindir there to give him his will back or anything. And there was Gandalf, of course, but he was too busy blasting. So at this point Gandalf's out of will, because he chucks 2 will at Sorcerer's Blast 3 times.
Blinding Light goes down, not that it matters because you're all in combat.
Totally forgot about that. I think by this point there weren't shooting, but you're totally right, of course it was. I didn't even think. He then, for 4 turns, in a row casts Sorcerous Blast on his one free will point and casts it every single time.
On a 5?
It's a 5+ to cast. So you 5 or a 6, and you rolled it 4 times in a row, and I was getting to this, I was just shaking my head, and it was so much fun. We were having such a great time, like, because he had some horrendous luck with rolls, and I had some horrendous luck with rolls, and yeah, I remember at the fourth one, there was a bit of a crowd. There was a couple of people watching. I think Alistair King was there, and I just had my head in my hands, you know, when he blasted yet another dwarf into Bilbo. And I was really, by this point, I'm losing numbers fast. I was broken.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Thorin, Bilbo, and Legolas were keeping me in it with the courage. And I just, as I was losing numbers, I couldn't trap them, and I needed to trap them to kill them.
Yeah.
And eventually, I managed to win priority, or he ran out of might, and Bilbo got on Glorfindel. And Bilbo got on Glorfindel, and Thorin got on Glorfindel, and a couple of dwarfs got on there with their axes. And of course, Glorfindel then goes down to fight 4.
Yeah.
Thorin, well, the elves fight, wins it. Thorin faints, and we kill Glorfindel at last. So that's one of them down.
That's a big.
Yeah, and
big
it's a
swing.
huge thing. So that then leaves me with, and I think I'd killed it. There was some hilarious stuff trying to kill their horses as well. I beat Gandalf in combat, and I was keen to get them off their horses, because there was no way I would kill them in these combats. And I think I had one guy who, because of piercing strike, needed a 4 to wound a horse, and rolled a 3. And then I had another guy because in the same combat needed a 3 to roll to wound a horse, and I rolled a 2. And it was that kind of thing. And I did that to his and Glorfindel's horse a few times. It was just like, oh, come on. So of course he was still getting all the charge bonuses and all that sort of stuff. And of course at this point you're playing for VPs, so I'm really worried about Thorin, who's long since been off his pony, because I need him to get in and kill, but I don't want to give away VPs for winning my leader. And I was working out the maths again, whereas my force was going down. As I said, I think earlier, that if I got reduced to 25% and he still had all 3 alive, I would only have 5 models, so I wouldn't have, even though the game ended, I wouldn't have double. So he would get 3 for breaking me, and I would get 3 for.
But he only has 2. No, because he killed Glorfindel.
Yeah, this was. I was thinking about this before I killed Glorfindel, and of course the other thing to mention at this point, I was on the 3rd table, having lost and drawn a game. Like at the start, I'd somehow kind of just gradually bump my way up.
That's what I say.
Yeah, it is. That's Tom's tactic: lose your first game, and which is why I did it. And yeah, as I say, I managed to kill Glorfindel. The next turn, and then it started rolling how I'd hoped it would. The next turn, Bilbo got onto Elrond, Thorin got onto Elrond, and Grimhat, Warriors Variable, killed Elrond. And that kind of swung it, because then suddenly it's his leader. So I've got the points for his leader, I'm broken, that's a tie. But I've got far more models than him, and only Gandalf. And obviously the game doesn't end there. Moved into Gandalf, and I think the next turn killed Gandalf with exactly the same tactic. And there's no doubt in my mind, Bilbo Baggins won that for me. Like, and the other things helped, but against Glorfindel and Elrond, halving their fight value, he was incredible. Amazing, when he finally got in, absolutely brilliant. Really, really good little investment. So I managed to win that actually 9-1. It was a great game, and I think Chris felt like he did worse than he did. He was saying that he thought he made some errors, and I don't feel like he made a lot of errors. I just think
once Bilbo gets in and you've got no, I mean, you can't even heroic strike it. There's not much.
It's the nature of all hero armies that once you get to that point, you need to rely on 6s, and Bilbo means the 6s don't mean anything. So he played really well. A couple of rolls here and there, it could have gone completely the other way. If Legolas had gone down earlier, maybe. But yeah, I managed to get 9-1. Great game. Really enjoyed it. Gorgeous looking army, as I said, that he got nominated for. Really enjoyed it, and that was my last game.
So, how did you end up placing in the tournament?
Bizarrely, I got 9 victory points in that, and I was filming the award ceremony, as you'll probably see at some point again on one of these videos. And I was filming the award ceremony because I was still in the mindset of, I lost my first game, I drew my game, I'm on the bottom tables, and hadn't really realised I'd won the last game on the 3rd table. And so as they were reading the rankings out, I think it's James says something like, "Oh, you'll have to tell him to put that camera down because I came third." Which was please, which I was not just chuffed with, but just amazed by. And of course, when you look at the record objectively, it's 5 wins, 1 loss and a draw. Yeah. And Ed won the tournament on 6 wins and a draw. Yeah. Oh, there's a spoiler. So, you know, it was a good result, but I think just you get yourself in the mindset that you've lost. 2 not great results. But yeah, just chipping your way gradually, a couple of tables every round.
And that draw bumped you up above everyone on 5 wins as well.
Yeah, because I've got a unique amount of tournament points, haven't I?
Yeah.
There was me, then Jay was second, wasn't he?
Yeah, Jay Clare with Lake Town
with
Army second.
6 wins.
And then, sadly, because it was... So the final game of the tournament, well, the top table game in the final round was Owen Wright against Ed Ball. So Owen actually having a good last day.
Didn't do an Owen.
I took his place for that. And he had Guy 2 Eagles, Bilbo on a pony, and Alfred and Legless on a horse. And he was up against the 3 Felby, so, you know, quite a good matchup.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Bilbo's not as effective because he's against Nazgul, but still the Eagles are...
Eagles top their fight, really, yeah.
And I think it was a very close game, came down to a few rolls here or there, and Ed managed to win. So Ed got first, and Owen sadly dropped down to 4th. So that's another tournament where Owen's been in contention for the winning of the tournament, and then drops out of the top, out of the top 3 on that last round. So
Owen's the Everton, isn't it?
Yeah, we were discussing this. Another football analogy.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, bad luck to Owen. I was playing a fantastic tournament. So Jay got 6 wins.
Yeah, Jay
Ed got 6 wins and a draw.
Extremely well with the Lake Town.
And I got 5 wins and a draw.
Yeah.
And everyone else got them 5 wins.
Then there was quite a lot on 5 wins, and then a lot with me on 4 wins. So that's why I was down in 17.
It's interesting then that 0-0 draw that I thought was a real missed opportunity got me my place.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was totally made up with that. Like, as I said at some point in this video or other videos, I took a fun list that I was really just, I loved the models, I thought it was themed, I thought it was competitive, I was really happy with the paint job. Sorry, not themed, I thought it was fluffy. I thought it might have a good chance. I took Bilbo because I thought he was fun and he was awesome.
I think also you were saying that you enjoyed the fact that you were learning as you went along with the army, so because we'd done 1 practice game together, you kind of got more and more used to how to play them.
Yeah. It's really good fun. A lot of variety, piercing strikes and feinting and the knife hunter rules and lots of archery and really, really good fun. Very interesting. So other things, lots of in the awards ceremony, which was awesome. Lots of there and back awards for all the guys who come from overseas. 6 or 7 of those. Yeah. The wooden spoon went to Jack.
Yep.
who drew with Ed.
So drawing with the tournament winner and getting the wooden spoon.
Yeah, that's
I don't think you'll ever get that again.
The only person who prevented Ed from winning was the guy who came last, which is crazy. Yeah. But yeah, well done to Jack. Then
maybe Ed was trying to throw his first game.
Yeah, maybe it works. It worked. Jon then got.
Yeah, a lot.
Most sporting.
He got 6 out of 7. He did buy people those Dutch.
I didn't get any cookies. Maybe that's because I didn't play him.
Yeah, which were really nice. But he's just such a fun, talkative guy. And he really likes themed armies. So if you bring a themed army along, he is going to fawn over it. And
he was really genuine. He was
really nice. Really genuine guy. Really.
And his army. Oh well, we've talked about his army because he also then won Best Army, and quite rightly so.
As voted by the players.
As voted by the players, yeah, absolutely.
And it was.
I voted for him. I've got up in my hand. I didn't want to because I was looking at it and it was competition for me. Yeah. And I was like going, he's going to win now. I was like, but I've got to vote for that.
So he had beautiful bases with like flagstones for the dwarves to stand on, and then he had an amazing Dwalin, which was a Grimhammer captain.
Yeah, Grimhammer captain and the plastic Dwalin.
With Dwalin with the Mohawk's head and the Dwalin's axes. The plastic arms.
On his player interview, which we've done, there's quite a lot of talk about his army and stuff, but really stunning, really, really lovely, and very deserved winner. Yeah. That was voted by us, and I think Jamie said by something of a landslide, or a large majority.
Yeah, it was very good.
And George Perkins was the one who was actually picked by Shadow and Flame. Yeah. So Shadow and Flame picked their favourite army. Yeah. That was George, so well done to George for that, and well done to Jon for getting 2 awards, like most sporting and best painted.
And there and back again. Yeah,
and there and back again.
Yo-yo.
He got his paper worth of trip.
Yeah, it was worth the trip over.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, then that's all of them, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope we're not missing anybody out.
No, sorry if we are. It's late and we're tired.
Yeah, very late.
I got third. Jay got second.
Yeah.
It's an amazing Lake Town army.
Yeah.
He played with a good horde army.
Yeah, master that.
Themed.
Complete fluff. Bard, master,
Fantastic
Alfred.
stuff. Well done
That's
to Jay.
when you can take Alfred.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't praise Jay enough for that. Like, love the way it looked.
Yeah.
Love the theme behind it. Great to see an all Lake Town army. Never see it again, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like, you know, not other than his.
Yeah.
And of course, Ed Bull, we doff our caps there.
6 wins out of 7 is good going.
After perhaps what he saw as maybe some disappointing results in, even though he's done well.
Yeah,
he hasn't had a win in the last
to get the
4.
singles win. Yeah.
Was it two Hobbits and 1 All Hero?
Yeah.
He goes back to.
Yeah, back to the
Felbies.
Yeah.
Smashes everyone in his path.
Yeah. Yeah, gave them a rest for a bit and then they were fully recovered.
Yeah, I think they were match ready.
Yeah.
So well done to Ed.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Yeah.
We all got a £5 voucher, Element Games voucher, which was amazing.
Kind of forgot about and then spent it at the end.
I got a £10 voucher for coming third. So I got myself some toys. I got myself the Mordor sourcebook, which I'm kind of embarrassed to say I haven't had. But I managed to get that for £4, £4.50 with a £10 off and a discount. And I also got myself a Citadel Wood, which was my £5 off. I got for about £10 from Element Games. So that was really cool, really good discounts. Got the 2 of them for cheaper than either would be on their own, which is pretty cool. This will be appearing in a project in the next 2 months, hopefully. So I'm going to tell you, that's the plan for me. So did you get yourself a treat?
Yeah, I got some Fellwargs.
Ah, very nice. Cool. For an upcoming Hunter Orc army.
Yeah.
It might make its way to a tournament near you soon.
Yeah, at some point.
Cool. So that was that.
Yeah.
We all said our goodbyes.
Yeah.
I think
a lot of goodbyes.
So many hugs. It was like the end of Return of the King.
You'd say goodbye to people and then you'd kind of make your way around to more people and then people, because you took so long getting round, have then moved back here, so you have to say goodbye to them again, so you're not,
It's quite kind of emotional as well, because you spend that concentrated time and it's just awesome, and then you're like, it's going to be ages, it's going to be 3 weeks.
Yeah. But not all the people.
Yeah. But it's great, and obviously someone like Jon's not going to be there.
No, for another
maybe for a year.
Yeah.
And so, just great.
Yeah.
So overall,
amazing. Yeah. Probably the best tournament so far as an independent one. Obviously, kind of keep the Games Workshop one separate. I think that this one, I mean, the Longbottom Carnival last year, because that was a step up where it went to 30 plus people, was amazing. And then this year again, it's been another step up to getting towards the 50, and with the the professional layout of boards and the big gaming hall.
It's absolutely no disrespect to any of the other ones.
No, of course they're all
they're setting their venues and that sort of thing. But the scale of it was
fantastic. More that we had so many players and some from overseas, and just the whole atmosphere was brilliant.
It felt more like it felt like an official one.
Yeah,
to
like
me,
a GW one.
which was great.
Like was the hall in Bugman's, but
yeah, exactly, and loved it. Loved the tables. Loved the players.
Oh, and the quiz.
And a quiz, quiz for next time. That'd seal the deal. A Saturday evening quiz.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was probably, again, no disrespect to any of those. It's probably my favourite tournament I've been to.
Yeah.
I loved it, from even the trip up, chatting to you guys, to the trip back, and now talking about it. Like, it's been 72 hours of just bliss. It's been amazing.
I'm so tired.
So tired.
And
so tired. We've stayed at, what is it, 2:15?
I don't want to know.
2:15. We got this done.
2:30.
2:30. So it's all fresh in our minds. I don't have to go to work tomorrow. He's going to work.
He's been quite chirpy on this video. I'm sure that my he had to literally drag me onto this video to start with. I was like,
I did the driving. I drove for 4 hours. Like you had your chance to see.
Yeah.
Massive,
huge
congrats and thanks to James and James.
Yeah.
And everyone at Northwest Gaming Centre and everyone who helped out. Brilliant weekend.
Yeah, we would woo and clap, but people are asleep.
Yeah, Emma's asleep, and if we woo and clap, she'll go, "What in God's name are you doing?
Why
You've been doing this all weekend. Why are you now talking about what you've just done?" She might not get it, but it was a brilliant weekend.
Yeah.
7 amazing games,
yeah.
which you don't always have at a tournament. Like, really 7 games against. I can't honestly do the maths, but four people I think that I've never played before, which is really good.
It's tough maths counting to 4.
Yeah, I can't remember who I played at this stage. I think there was 4 people I hadn't played. I played James, Chris, and Lewis. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's right. So, and you don't normally get that. It's been a long time at a tournament. I wouldn't have played the majority of my opponents. Yeah, see, you say it's tough counting to 4, but you can't do it, can you?
Cheat sheet. I played five new
5 new players.
Yeah,
Exactly.
which is great.
So yeah, it was brilliant. Great tables, great people, great food. The whole thing was amazing. I would give it at least 4 out of 10.
At least 4 out of 10.
But yeah, couldn't say it enough, really. Awesome weekend, guys. Thank you very much.
4 out of 10.
That was a joke. I would, of course, give it like 10 out of 10. Clearly, the time has passed for jokes. So, with that, I think we're going to go to bed.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to us. If you made the end, we hope you found this useful.
Yeah.
Sorry if...
Yeah, if we're bad substitutes for GBHL James and GBHL Jamie. He does the talking. Oh, you forgot to do when you said you came 3rd.
Oh, I came 3rd, yeah. Third is for winners. For winners.
You also have to berate me for coming 17th because
17th. Tournament winning Wood Elves. He does have tournament winning Wood Elves actually. Tournament losing High Elves. Harrison. Wasn't even most sporting this time. Tumbled down into 17th place, which is probably your genuinely probably your lowest.
Yeah, lowest ever.
Lowest
a long
ever.
way. By a long way.
Lowest ever for Thomas Harrison by a long way.
I don't think I've never finished outside the top 10.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will be back to his best at the Mansfield tournament in 3 weeks' time.
When I'm taking a competitive
When he's
list.
taking the most uncompetitive list you've ever seen, maybe not. But yeah, that's the Mansfield tournament, 3 weeks' time at Dreamlight Gaming.
Yeah.
We'll be there. We hope to see you all there.
Yeah, and there is another Desolation of Stockport in last weekend of September.
Yeah, September. There are another one, and we'll certainly be going to that.
Yeah, and hopefully everyone else will.
Absolutely. So, from me, not quite GBHL Damien.
And me, not quite GBL Tower.
Thanks a lot.
GBHL. It's so late. GBHL.
Very much. Don't forget to like, share, and comment and subscribe. Support your Hobbit hobby.
And happy strategy battle game. Ing. God. I'm gonna start crying.